to Teaser Karaoke. Please subscribe down below and comment, and God will bless you. Today we are going to study about how do you find yourself in your 20s. How do you find yourself in your 20s? Move far away from home with or without a job lined up for you. Pack up your car with all your essential belongings. Probably won't be mad. Choose a city that hundreds of not thousands of miles away from where you grew up, preferably where a friend might live. Move in a house or perhaps an apartment. Start a life of your own. My life. When I was 23 years old, I had graduated college and moved from Chicago to Boston. Prior to that, all I had experienced in life was the progression of the academic ladder. I had always known what was going to come next in life with kindergarten. I know that first grade was next, after that second grade, and so on and so forth. You always have a roadmap of what to expect next to your life. Once I finally graduated college, I was to enter the real world like many people do. Still young and in my early 20s, I knew that there was much more to be gleaned from life. I had fled from high school and university get a job that moved him from Chicago to Boston. He told me that where we was living, a room opened up and he suggested I pack my things, move out there and live in the house. After a week of deliberation, I took the gambit. I packed all my necessities. I seemed not ordered to start this new adventurous life. It took about 16 hours over 2 days, and before I knew it, I was pulling up to the small one-story because I didn't be living in the next 18 months. Starting over away from your nest can have profound impact on finding yourself in your 20s. You find who you are when you need to make friends. When we were kids, we pretty much make friends by proximity. We are in the same class as this individual and we gravitate toward people through similar interests, but most of the interaction comes from being held against your will in Miss Belford second grade reading class. Sorry, Miss Belford. When you have identified yourself in a foreign community, it's up to you and only you to make friends. You can use various networking sites. You can join intramural sports. You can find co-worker and meet the company. You will find out so much about who you are from the action you need to take in building a community of friends that support you. You learn extreme responsibility. When I moved from Chicago to Boston, I didn't have a job lined up. I took an extreme risk of failing. I had about $2,000 my checking account saved up. I needed to find a job a day. I needed to find one fast. I felt that if my back was against the wall, I knew that no one cared what I moved to the city, and I wasn't going to get any hand out of network by us off. I sent out hundreds of resumes. Every interview I went to, I gave in my all. I knew that as the week rolled by, I would have the lighter other rent check, and I couldn't rest on my role in mommy and daddy house rent free. I finally landed a killer job working for a website startup. I grew leap and boundary professionally from this profession, though I was ultimately fired. I will get to that later. If you want to eat, it's all on you. When I moved away from my hometown, I didn't have the ability to text mom and see what dinner was going to be when I got home. If I wanted to eat, I had a couple of options. Sped up to take out dinner in. I could learn to grocery shop, buy in bulk, cook in bulk, and learn to live off my own cooking skill. I took the latter approach. You learn a lot about yourself when you learn to cook on your own. You learn what taste what taste you like to. You learn tricks in preparation, you learn tricks in planning out your meal, you learn the failure of cooking, which can branch out in other aspects of your life. Extreme responsibility. After about 2.5 years of working at my first job in Boston, I was cordially called into my boss's office. There bunch of us, as well as one of the VPs. They laid out thick packet in front of me. The top line reading personal improvement plan was bowing question for my lack of production within the company. I was told that I had 30 days to turn my performance allowed, and with that I met certain criteria, I would be retained within the company, and it would be as if this conversation never happened. In that moment, I knew I had done wrong. I was making money both for myself as well as the company. However, I wasn't doing it their way, with their specific call, metric, etc. Don't worry, people. No theft, no anything like that. I had essentially checked out of my role at the company. Noticed again in this definitely deficiency movement in my 20s. I had two choices. One was to sign on the dotted line that I would conform to their standard, follow their criteria, and waste away with a job that I wasn't finding fulfillment. That other, I would turn the packet back over them, or own up to the consequences of my action, and tell sign this because in that is one day we'll be having the same conversation again. I took the latter. After a few minutes of deliberation between my boss and the VP, I called back in and told I would have 2 weeks to finish my role with the company. I was fired. This was a crashing blow to who I was as an individual. Never thought in a million years that I was going to be fired from job. Thank you, ego. I learned that we all make choices in life. There can be extreme consequences to such choices. The important thing is to own up to any choice you make. Don't make excuses or blame others. Your life and success is on you. You learn to get by a little to no luxury at all. When I was living in my first house in Boston, I was living in a partially finished basement and sleeping on a small twin-size bed for illustration purpose. I am 6'3" when the barometric pressure is high. Meteorological jokes here, people. When I am on my twin-sized bed, my feet undoubtedly fall off the edge of the bed again. I didn't have enough money to just buy a new bed. To solve this problem, I took a box from a flat-screen TV my landlord purchased and went in it between wall and my bed. On top of the box, I placed pillow villa. I had extended my twin-sized bed so I could comfortably and completely fit. Of course, with this, I still had to sleep Abraham Lincoln style by sleeping diagonally. My pain is when I didn't have the luxury of my parent house or perhaps any other type of aid. I needed to be resourceful at figuring out the solution to my own problem on the slimmest of budget. Through the loneliness, you find who you are. When you move halfway across the country to a foreign city with no friend or family, you mostly definitely find yourself lonely, and often plenty of the people you try and make friends with will already have a solid foundation of friends they spend time with. You will find yourself going to dinner alone, you will be going to movie alone, you will be spending weekend at the beach alone. Through all of this alone time, you find time to regret who you are and what you want to be in the world. You are still a child. This is such an important time in your life in finding out who you are and what you want to be. Being alone, as hard it is, can be open up this reflection. Do you want to find yourself in your 20s? Put yourself in a situation where you don't know anything or anyone. Put yourself into a situation where your responsibility is magnified and the prosperity of your livelihood depends on it. Put yourself in the mindset of seeing food as well as learning new skills in the preparation. Put yourself in a situation where your only resource is resourcefulness itself. Put yourself in a lonely situation so you can find the strength to fight and build who you are really are. Your 20s are a pivotal moment in your life. Don't waste your years to comfort. In comfort, you can't grow in doing so. Your 20s are a pivotal moment in your life. Don't waste the years in comfort. You can't grow in doing so. Yes, welcome to my channel. We have talked about how do you find yourself in your 20s. Please subscribe down below and you learn a lot. Bye.